you know, and going back with appropriation or appreciation, you know, I'm very, very aware, us living in LA County, or at least near LA County, you know, the LA spiritual community, or at least like there's all kinds of people in it. There's also a lot of kind of people in there that do have an abundance of many things, you know, and it's like a lot of people like to call it new age spirituality. And I see how, because I've been in that world when I barely started. I was like 18. My first entheogen was psilocybin, and it flipped the switch. The whole yoga, all these things, and there's a lot of beauty in everything. However, the more and more I got more exposed to it, there's a lot of things I personally don't align with within those communities. And again, this is just my opinion. And just another thing too is to each their own, as long as you're not hurting people. Polyamory, introducing other substances, lack of discipline, that's everywhere, you know. And however, and a lot of people within that circle, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. A lot of people do a lot of medicine, whether it's ayahuasca and all these things. They even serve these things, dude. But going back to the appreciation or the whitewashing, there's a lot of things that get watered down so much where people get hurt. And a lot of those people, even though they have really good intentions, they have no connection or any connection at all to people that practice these ways in a very traditional way. Maybe they go down to Brazil for a week, and all of a sudden the spirit, like the medicine told me to start serving, because they have the capital to go buy it and start providing it for people. Again, to each their own. Spirit's gonna work how it's gonna work at the end of the day. But what I'm trying to get to is the subject of the matter of forcing things, of finding things, of I feel called to do X, Y, Z. Everything that I do, by the way, right now, unfolded organically. I didn't look for it.
Same.
It didn't look for me. The medicine literally came to me as gifts over and over and over again. I didn't choose this way of life. Same thing with lacrosse. I didn't choose it. You know?
I feel like you did choose it in a sense, because
you're correct. Actually, I did choose it because it was radically different. And I'm like, ooh, I want to hit people with the stick. it's a martial art, man. But I'll just pause there. But yes, you're right.
I mean, you choose it. Maybe not. You woke up as a kid and said, "This is what I want to do," but you choose it in your everyday actions, in the way that you perceive the world, and the way that you choose to react to situations. And I feel like spirit will look upon someone and see the greatness within them, and then leave choices in their life to go one way or the other. And you continuously chose the path that spirit was putting in front of you.
Exactly. And choosing the path, by the way, it's been officially a year since I quit my regular job. All the work I've had, every single job I've had, every single thing I've been invited to was networking. Literally networking. How did I start coaching lacrosse? My college coach literally gave me the opportunity. How did I start working at the forum? My buddy said, hey, we got a job opening over here. So like all these things literally unfolded on my lap that allow me to have these tools that I have today, to have the capacity to host community gatherings, like I guess you could say lead ceremonies and all these things. Like it's not really me, you know. It's just it's there, and it's like, okay, I'm being called to be of service.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I've been given these opportunities to participate in a very beautiful and graceful way. I'm like, wow, like a lot of our people don't have these opportunities, don't have this information, don't have the capital to go to Mexico, to go travel on a weekend getaway because they're surviving, like you said. At the same time, there's a suppression of the spirit where us as humans, our responsibility is to be, you know, self-reliant, to succeed and things like that. However, like I said, with the capitalism and the culture we live in today here in society, there's a lot of things, opposing forces against us, you know, and that's a whole other subject. But this is where these ways of life, this culture, this healing, this common space of the fire, of the earth, of the wind, of the waters, living in prayer can allow us to open up our hearts, to connect with other people that relate in that way. You know, and this connects back to the LA community and the indigenous community, I truly believe my mission, at least this is what I've received, my mission is to be that bridge I understand the LA community 100% because the whole festival scene, all these other things, right? I learned how to communicate. However, I did see those things. Same thing with the indigenous community. What I said earlier, you could say the perfect things, play the part, but outside of it, where's all that? There's also a victim mentality too, right? Here's the thing about that bridge. You bring these rarely common things of the elementals, like I mentioned earlier, and teach that context or embody that in context, not just in ceremony, outside of it, with all walks of life, right? And what that allows to see is you bring this introductory way of ceremony to people within all kinds of communities, not just the LA New Age spirituality community, but all kinds of communities, so they feel called to be curious about it and learn. This is how you attract people. You can't force them. You can't force these things. So going back to the bridge, I actually brought a brother. He's from the Yaqui Nation to Lightning in a Bottle to come fire keep with me, because he grew up in these ways of life. He has his own fireplace in Crestline. I have a lot of respect for him, and the reason I invited him is because, one, I knew we have a similar mindset, and he went through a very similar initiation as I did because we're part of the same men's group that's been around for 20 plus years. It's very underground, other subject. But the thing is, he too is a bridge. I've had these conversations with him. He understands what I'm doing here. One thing that I'm doing is, as a bridge, people in this community that have the abundance want to not only learn, but also support financially, opportunity, location, environment. This is what our people need. These opportunities, this support. And like I said, it gets controversial because these ways should be kept sacred. These ways shouldn't be so exposed. You should be really careful with doing X, Y, Z. I've had encounters where people come up to me and they think I don't know about certain things. They think I'm really naive, and I don't respond. I just observe. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really respectful because, I have a lot of respect for anybody that grew up in this way of life. However, that doesn't mean you're a master of it. That doesn't mean you're a good person. Like I said, right? And I'll pause there. So that's my intention, and I truly believe that's what my mission is creating that bridge to the ancient future.
We've talked about a lot of stuff, and I don't want people's heads ringing like, oh my God, it's so much, because there's a lot more conversations that we can have on another time.
Of course.
Yeah. This is definitely not going to be our last conversation. You have so much knowledge to offer and so much experience that I think that we could have a million more conversations, really. But what drug and alcohol ceremonies do you hold? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I'll give you an idea of how I enter these places.
Right.
A lot of these people are detoxing. A lot of these people are medicated. And a lot of people, when they hear me say like, oh, you working on, like, were you ever in rehab? I'm like, no, honestly, the reason I got this job is because somebody gave me the opportunity, because they know what I do. They know the context I hold. They know I hold myself. They're like, you're perfect for this environment. So when I go into these places, I have a regular pillar of like 4 pillars: name, where you're from, intention, DLCs, drugs of choice. And I go first. I always say, whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever we hear remains confidential within the space. And I share first because I take off my battle mask and I want them to see I'm not just a regular dude entering. I'm very transparent. I'm very straightforward. I'm very open. So what I teach in these workshops and these facilities is wellness in bioenergetics. In other words, somatic healing. What the heck is that? How do you connect your mind to your body to your mind, how to express, how to use your breathing patterns, how to use your movement to release these traumas that your nervous system holds on to, that causes pain, that causes thinking patterns, that causes you to do these actions that do self-sabotaging. It's a whole other subject. So one thing I started doing is I started bringing ceremony to these facilities. What do you mean by that? Do I talk about medicine? I do, but not directly.
Hmm.
I'm like, hey, do you guys want to check out this documentary on Netflix called How to Change Your Mind? It's out there in the world. Why not? I truly believe that these alternative ways of healing can really help people recover from that. I've seen it happen. That's a whole other subject. But the thing is, one thing I started teaching is a tobacco prayer, how to work with tobacco in a proper way, because a lot of these people smoke cigarettes, they use vapes. But when I bring that and I explain and I go over what this can do for the community to just talk around the fire, this is what we need, just expressing. They appreciate it. They love it. They even love the Sananga eye drops. They love it, you know. So it just opens up their mind a little bit to be more receptive and to be seen for where they're at.
I appreciate you so much for coming out today. It was amazing.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.